Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me for my Teenage Thursdays, in which we compile very practical tips and tools to help empower teenage young people. You might be a mentor, you might be a parent, you may be an organizational leader. So perhaps some of the nuggets that I'll share, you'll go back and share them with those that you serve and or you will apply them to the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit, which I refer to as home, that you lead. I'm Lanita Hosting, your favorite student success strategist, and I coach high school students to identify and go after that thing, their dream career. And last week we jumped into New Year, new habits. We talked about how habits are formed. Today, I want to talk about infectious goal setting habits of high achievers. So, if you're listening today and you're live, just type in the chat box. Let me know you're here. You can type in hashtag I'm here. If you are watching the replay, type in hashtag replay. So, in basic words, infectious means contagious, meaning it's catching, it is irresistible. And so infectious goal setting to me is like once I've achieved a certain level of a result, I desire it so much. It has caught me or grabbed me that I am now, it's almost like habitual without thinking about it. I don't know if you've ever been driving before. You usually drive the same way, like you're driving from home to work or you're driving from home to church. You don't have to think about it. You're just driving until this one time you don't intend to go to work or to church, but you're still driving down that road. It has become habitual. You're not activating your actual cognitive thinking to get there. And so high achievers use infectious goal setting through their habits to achieve success. And I know this to be true because I am an avid consumer of books, podcasts, interviews. I'm around these kinds of people and they have a very similar mindset. And we're going to talk about that tonight. Hey, Meltania. And so infectious goal setting habits for high achievers. So three things I commonly see high achievers they're very cognizant of doing, and this is men, old, young, women, old, young, married, single, common. They are very intentional about feeding their mind. And I spoke about this with a school-based client earlier this week about how there are two parts of your mind. You have your conscious mind, which is where you make your logical, objective, concrete decisions based on your senses, things that you can see, touch, feel, hear, taste. That's where your conscious mind makes decisions based off your senses. And then you have your subconscious mind, which houses your emotions, your memory. And so, in order for things to get to your subconscious mind, which is where most of your researchers say 80% of your decision making happens from your subconscious and not your consciousness. Isn't that crazy? The way you get it there is by repetition. Ha ha! See, I have to know the science behind things in order for me to accept it. The way you get it to your subconscious mind is by repetition. So if you ever meet a very high achieving, successful person, you will often hear them say, I have affirmations. I repeatedly tell myself, I'm going to be great. I will be the first. Like they use the affirmations to transition from their conscious mind to their subconscious mind, whatever it is that they want the mind to believe. And so, however you are, if it's your goal this year to be more conscientious about actually manifesting the goals, are you practicing affirmations? This is a new thing to me. I'm not an affirmation person. I'm going to write it down. We're going to talk about that in a second. But I'm going to practice that this year. So that's the first thing. When I say that they feed their mind, they also do it through visualization. So in addition to the affirmation, there's a visualization component of them seeing their goals. So sometimes they map it out. You've seen a high achiever where they map out their entire year or their entire quarter. They're very strategic about how they're going to spend their time. Everything is strategy for high achieving people. Or they do visualizations they'll do a vision board, but instead of like hiding it behind a bed, they will post it somewhere, like a place that they commonly visit. You may see that I've seen some high achievers will take something that's really important to them. That's their reminder. They call it their why. And they'll put it somewhere like on their phone screensaver or on their journal. So in addition to affirmations, visualizations also help to feed the mind. The goal is that you are actively or repetitiously feeding your mind so that it gets down to the subconscious where we make most of our decisions and our thoughts happen. And so that's one of I told you there were 3 common behaviors that I see in high achieving people. That's one of them. They feed their mind. The second one is they feed their body. They are so intentional about remaining active, whatever that looks like for them. So they may rise up early and go to the gym. They may stretch. They do some type of stretch routine at home. And not all of them are like, fit as like we would call healthy, but they're intentional about walking, because there's a connection between the movement of your body and you feeling good. There's a release of an endorphin that makes you feel good. The same release that you get when you watch something funny. They say when you have sex, like those release of endorphins, you get that same release when you work out. So I don't know if that's the reason why they do it, but I do know that there's a connection between that too. So that's the second common attribute that I see on high achieving persons. They feed their mind, they feed their body, and you can probably guess what the third one is. Can you guess? What is the third thing that high achieving persons do to meet their goals? I want to see. What is the third thing? They feed their mind, they feed their body. They're intentional about those 2 things. What do you think the third thing is that they do? I want you to drop it in the comments. What do you think it is? Both men, women, all ages that I've seen. And it's an easy one. They feed their mind. They feed their body. What's that third one? Meltanya said, thinking. Yes, you got it. Nyara, they feed their soul. There is a spiritual component to the thing that they're doing because there's a greater purpose that they're attached to. And I've met some that are not even Christian, but they use the word, the universe is expecting good things. Like, I don't know what they practicing, but I'm a follower of Christ. And so I just say God's will for my life. Like, that's just the language that I use. But in general terms, there's a connection between a greater power. There's an understanding that they are just the vessel. They're the tool, the instrument that is being used on the earth to manifest a greater purpose. And I remember I was interviewing for a podcast, and a person asked me, what's your connection between your relationship with God and your business? I said it wasn't until I got really clear about what God had given me in the inside that my business started to excel. And that is the stone cold truth. There was a connection between not only my reverence, my commitment, my obedience, and that's down to tithing, down to abstaining from sex, like, to be very frank, like down to learning to pray, that I saw the connection in my business and the level of clarity. It was incredible. And most high achieving people that I've come in contact with, they feed their soul. And so when we talk about setting habits for the new year, a habit is simply a repetition of some sort of thing. It's a routine. So before we set the goal, and I mentioned this last week, we have to identify the habits or the routine that will get us to the goal. So today, I'm giving you 3 ways that I've seen people who do achieve the things that they set out to do, what they do to manifest that thing. They feed their mind, their body, and their soul. And so my question to you is that on your goal list this year? And if it ain't, it need to be. It needs to be there. If you didn't catch last week's video, it's always less than 10 minutes. I never keep you guys long. I got 20 seconds to go. Go back and check the 6 targets that I suggested that you focus on to develop your goals for this year. And I promise you, you will find it to be very helpful. All right, so that's our Teenage Thursday night. Like, in everything that I'm giving you, I'm hoping that you would transcribe it back or share it with your young person that you're connected to. Make your goals together, share them. Like, let's see what we're aiming for together. And when we know each other's goals, we can hold each other accountable too. And so, if you want to drop your goal, that one of your big, bold goals that you have for 2021 in the comments, I'd love to see it. And then I can be in prayer about it. I'll share my big bold goal for 2021 with you, and then we're gonna log off for tonight. My big bold goal is I want to win a contract bid with the state or federal to do or to provide my college and career coaching services to any, it usually will be an organization or typically a school. I want the contract. I'm going after government contracts. And the goal is in 2022 to leave my full-time job. That's my big bold goal. And it's the first time I've ever said it out loud online. But I'm trusting that thing. And you'll see there's some things that are coming down the pipeline that you'll begin to see. But yep, that's my goal. So I am vulnerable enough to share mine with you. You can go ahead and be vulnerable enough to share yours with mine too. Share yours with me too. So that's all I have for tonight's Teenage Thursday. We'll be here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No more than 10 minutes. Yep, Milton. Yep, you heard me say it. No more than 10 minutes. Just to kind of help you help your team that you live with in the NICU. I just come by, drop off the tools, and you take them back to the NICU, and you start feeding. You start feeding the gift that God gave you. All right, so I'm Lanita Holston, your favorite student success strategist, and thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Naira. She said representing for the teens. Yeah, my goal for this year is to graduate high school in 2021. Amen. Yes, and we're gonna graduate and do it well. Leave out with a bang. Okay, we got a team joining us tonight. I love it. I never think you guys are on Facebook. So Naira, you just challenged my perception of that. And thanks for joining and letting me know that you were here and live. All right, family, I'm out of here. Good night. I'll see you next Thursday at 8 p.m.